Hey everyone, it's Jonathan again, here at Information Security Experts. In this video, we want to talk about the process of creating organizations inside of Advanced Authentication. So before I really get into the configuring, let's talk about what organizations are and what we need to know moving forward when working with organizations. Firstly, organizations are essentially another word for a user repository. When we create an organization, we create a collection that we can store users in, or if you already have an LDAP server, then you can use that instead. Once we have created an organization, it allows us to configure settings within risk and strong authentication specifically for that group of users. Secondly, you need to be signed into the admin console as either the master administrator or a global administrator. These are the only two out-of-the-box administrator roles that have privileges to create and initialize organizations. Lastly, if you are planning on using an LDAP directory for the users in your organization, it's important to know that a directory can only be used in a single organization. So prepare to configure everything you want for that LDAP in a single organization. So now that we've talked a little about the organizations, let's go through the process and show you what it looks like. For this video, we'll be starting from the master admin login to emulate a fresh install. So we're going to log in and head over to the organizations tab. Here we'll see and click create organization in the top left. It'll be the first item under manage organizations. Here we see the page to input all the information about our organization and how we can log into the admin console to manage it. So for this, we'll call it demo.org, and we will name it demo.org for the display name as well. Description is not required, and there are three mechanisms for authenticating an admin into the console for this organization. There's basic, LDAP, and web forward, which essentially boils down to username password stored in the Advanced Auth system, the LDAP directory, or using multi-factor authentication from the strong auth component. So now let's look at the key label section. If you check the global key box, then it'll just use the encryption key that you defined in Bootstrap. Otherwise, you can give a new encryption key that is organization specific. If you are using hardware for encryption, then you'll select that instead and fill out the appropriate information. Below that, we have the localization settings. The global checkmark here indicates whether you would like to refer to the global defaults or not. If you uncheck it, you can modify your date-time format. Lastly, you can choose what type of user store this organization is going to use. You pretty much get to choose between the database you made for the installation or a pre-existing LDAP directory. For this video, we're going to choose the LDAP directory. Moving on, we're going to set up the LDAP information within the organization. So we're just going to put in the info for our LDAP directory and the schema we're using. Since we just stood up a directory for this video and we aren't using any crazy personal schemas, if you are, then this is where you would put it. So we'll just finish putting in the LDAP information, and if you need SSL enabled for one or two way, then just select the drop down that fits and provide your certs. In the next page, we can map attributes to our LDAP directory, and the only thing that's required to map is the username attribute. Afterwards, we choose what we want to encrypt, and like the previous pages, we can opt to use the global defaults. After that, we come to the final page and activate it. So let's just confirm with a quick search that our organization is there, and ta-da, we've successfully made our first organization in the system. So just to recap, organizations are our user repositories, and we can use them to configure settings specifically for that group of users. We need to be a master administrator or global administrator to create an organization. And if it applies to you, then you can only use LDAP for a single organization. On that note, I'm Jonathan, and I'd like to thank you for viewing. If you learned something or found this helpful, then please leave a like or comment on what you want to see next. If you want to support our channel and the production of more educational content, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel too. Thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.